Welcome to Max's monthly music mission for the month of September 2022. We've got a lot to cover today, so let's get right into it. Michael's here, Max is here, Grant's here, Mario's here. I'm Logan. Hi.
Whoa.
We have, again, a lot to go over. We've all assigned Max things now, which means this podcast that started out as a fun little endeavor. Started out as
Logan and Mike.
Another podcast, and then it became its own podcast, and now it's become longer than the other podcast. So that's interesting. We've got to go over Rush, Logic, the Music Man, and then Mac Miller today. And then we're also going to talk about Linkin Park, and then we have to assign new things. Max, as always, you get to chart this course. What do you want to talk about first? Go in any order you want. It doesn't have to be best or worst, just whatever you want to talk about.
Order I wants to go. Yeah.
Or let's save the Linkin Park since that'll involve all
Well,
this.
yeah, Linkin Park.
We'll do that.
Credit,
we'll do that.
always
We'll do
save
that
for the
last.
end.
Yeah.
Let's start with Mac Miller.
Oh,
because
hey, okay.
I like Mac
Because
Miller.
we knew you would like Mac Miller.
Known quantity.
Known quantity. Pictures with the sound off, which I believe is the one that Mario recommended. I think Logan actually recommended Swimming.
No,
I told you to listen to Swimming because it's like the sister album to Circles. Basically.
Yeah. So I listening to this, I actually remember that I've heard at least this album once before because it was coming out around the time I was getting into Mac Miller. Like I had listened to, was Blue Slide Park the one before this? I think so. Anyway, I was getting into Mac Miller around the time that moving picture or watching movies with no sound or whatever the name of the album is was coming out. And so my thoughts this time, it's very like, I wrote experimental, ethereal, it's floaty, it's kind of out there. Drug-fueled psychedelic depression was my description of this album. I remember SDS being the single, like for the album. Like I at least remember that much of it. Let me look at the track list. Let me pull this up.
Got the Star Room, I'm Not Real.
What?
Objects in the Mirror was one of the
order.
more popular songs.
Circle, circle, circles. Why is it at the end? Here we go. So like SDS is like the fourth song in the album. And then by the time I got to probably like watching movies, somewhere in there, maybe halfway through the album, I stopped and just said, I'd rather listen to The Incredible True Story. Boys, we have a situation.
Oh, no.
Oh.
What's this
I
situation?
only listened to The Incredible True Story.
That's the only album you listen to of everything?
I could not stop.
You didn't listen
The
to
Incredible
literally
True
anything
Story
else?
is the new #1 album by a landslide. Logan has found the first album that has done what I do with music. I just listen to it over and over again.
Called
forever.
That's
I
why
will
thought you would like that
never.
one.
So I apologize. I have to apologize first. All of this homework will carry over, and I will report back on all of this.
Okay.
In earnest.
So we're going to get you to double up.
Yes, I promise.
Oh my God.
Everything else will be listened to by the time I'm on this show next time. But I could not stop. My notes were like, these are the skits I like. This is really good. It weaves into a narrative, and then the songs talk about it. I'm like, wow, these are really good, strong tracks. And then I said, that was all I wrote. And then I said, now the album is over. An engrossing, absolute, total ride. More listens required. My next bullet. I've listened to this album at least 20 times before listening to anything else. I could not stop. I play it in the car with Abby. Abby's heard this album at least 10 times.
The babies are at least 1,000 now at this point.
Oh my gosh. I love it so much.
I'm glad I chose this one because I remember when we were talking about this, you guys were like, oh, you should do like Everybody because that's the one that kind of had some of his more like radio friendly popular hits on it. I was like, I don't know. That's not the one that I like the most though. And so
This I totally when you told me last time that this was what you listened to when you were like in a rut at like a jobby job and stuff, I was like, yes, I identify with this album. Let's
I was gonna say,
go,
what did you
mister.
think about the themes and like what songs stood out to you, if any? Like,
He does the thing I love when really good rappers, at least rappers I really like, let's put it this way, rappers that I really like, when they talk about how good they are and they actually back it up, in my opinion, I love it. And so the opening of this, the Contact little skit, I had no idea Spike Spiegel was going to be in this, so that immediately went, time to go to the top, baby. So he shows up, but then they do that whole thing where he's like, yeah, I was listening to Logic on the way over. I was just about to put his second album in now. Well, you know that was the one that changed everything, right? And he just says, and that's why it's so important. And he cuts it off before it can even finish
and then it
the
drops.
word.
No, then it's like then it's supposed to be like that's the album starting.
Yes. But they cut it before
Yes.
even the word important finishes. And I'm like, yes, let's do this, sir. I love all of the skits. White people, I don't really care for the front half of White People, but the back half I think is pretty great.
Wow. Now Max has done a full turn from his Max the White days.
Yeah, just the front of that particular skit is just a little too crude for me, but the back half is pretty funny where it's like why white people got
that's the one. Wrap it up with a trash bag.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, that's a bit much. I like the cube. So like all the skits I like is this journey through space to try and find paradise and then the end of it and stuff. I think the Talia is great. Abby loves it when Big Sean shows up.
Oh yeah.
Because she has a student with the same name. And when Big Sean comes in, it's great. So that cracks Abby up. But
Logan,
I wish we could just sit here and listen to the album together, and I could just talk about.
Well, what sucks is I know that Michael and Grant don't know anything about this album. I don't know if Mario's.
This is
I
what
know.
I feared.
I was just about to ask you.
I've totally listened to this album.
You
Logan,
have?
Logan.
Yeah, I've listened to all
this-
of Logic stuff. I like Logic.
Okay.
Is this the album with David Hayter?
No, that's the other one. So I'm curious. Did you listen to No Pressure as
I
well?
listened to No Pressure once,
Okay.
Okay.
and I have 2 bullets on that.
Solid Snake is probably a bullet.
Solid Snake is a bullet.
No, Solid Snake was not a bullet, but I did know David Hayter was in it, so that was not a bullet. The song "Open Mic," there was I put in quotes cocky Kanye style delivery, so there was some Kanye like reference in there. I like that, and then the album feels intentionally caged, limited. It's a similar range between songs, vocals in center, and the music was kind of felt like it was on the sides. So it felt kind of trapped. Listened to it once, and then I just went back to Incredible True Story. Not that I didn't like No Pressure, Under Pressure, or No Pressure, but I just couldn't stop.
I didn't know if you'd be really into Dad Bod since you're also about to have a kid.
It's
a song where he talks about going to the grocery store as a dad wearing sweatpants and people are trying to get his autograph and he just wants to know what trash bag brand is the best, if he should buy Hefty or Glad or something like that. He's like rapping about like all these like daily inconveniences he has since he's become a dad. It's goofy.
We'll see no one's gonna ask me for my autograph. We're also facing the problem.
Now you know the name of the song on vinyl. By the way,
yeah, the art is dope. I probably would. The thing though is we have now faced the problem that we discussed privately a week or 2 ago. I look at the names of these songs and I'm like, I don't know how these sound. Like I have to hear it to then know it.
That's how I'll say this. I have become more like that in the age of streaming. I do not know tracks like I used to when I bought a CD. And I would put a CD in, and I used to know song names and what the track number was on them. I used to know that stuff. Since we've gone to streaming, and you can just put it on and kind of put your phone in your pocket, and the album just plays. I have become a little bit more like that, Max. But albums I listen to all the time, that's different for me.
I was gonna say it kind of just depends on what I'm listening to. Like, I mean, like the new Coheed album, like I know every song name, I know the lyrics for all of them, I know everything about it.
Like I really
but But then like I listen to like with you with Logic, like I legitimately don't know any of Logic's song names, like none of them. But
Tame Impala, that's how I am
listened to
too.
them, so and I do like it. But it's Tame Impala is another one. Like Brian Eno, I listen to a shit ton. Like I listen to it so much. And I don't know any of the names of Brian Eno's songs. So like, yeah, I'm with you in a way. Yeah.
So some of the things like pieces or concepts I like that we could apply later in future assignments. I like the way the skits tie into the songs. I always like it when they do
So
that
you like
sort of
concept albums.
Got it.
I guess, if that's what the term is.
Yes.
My favorite, a good example
This
of this.
album is a single idea and it flows through the whole thing. That's why I was talking about the theme. Like the themes permeate through the different songs too. Like
It's
he's talking about similar things throughout all the songs. Not that they are all necessarily. There's overarching ideas, I guess, at play, and he kind of ties those ideas back in not only with the skits, but then also the spoken word stuff from, I forget the guy's name that he folds in as well, if you know what I'm talking about.
I feel like that's the same reason why, like you've said that you like Pink Floyd. And I feel like Pink Floyd does a lot of that.
Yeah.
Where like if you, I mean, specifically The Wall does that, but like even Dark Side of the Moon or even Animals or anything, like they flow together. It's all very cohesive. Like yeah.
You know what else tells a story? The Music Man. You learn about how they got trouble right there in River City. T and that rhymes with P and that stands for pool.
Does River City Girls take place during Music Man?
What?
River City?
River City Girls? That's a movie.
Isn't it River City?
Pretty sure it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
It's been a long time since I've
It's called
seen it.
River City Girls.
There's I think a good song that kind of encapsulates my whole love of this is Eminem's Criminal. Like it's pure Eminem distilled into one song. I think it's got his skits, it's got the rapping, it's got it all. And so having that applied to a whole album is this type of stuff I really, really, really enjoy. And I think Kid Quill has a little bit of that, which I recommended a couple episodes ago. Now I'm just scrolling through the alphabet again. And I also feel like the other thing is this is, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is one of Logic's first albums, not maybe
It's his second one.
It's a second one, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's in the song. See, but I feel like he was hungry and had something to say to a certain degree, and that reminds me of like College Dropout from Kanye. It's like they had something to prove, and I like it when that's a part of it too. I think when you get to the top, sometimes that can fade a little bit. So I like it when they're young and hungry, and I think he's hungry in this album to prove that he's good and get out of a funk. And I get being in a funk. I like the way the end of the album builds as they get closer to Paradise. I do wish the Incredible True Story, the song, kind of went a little harder up front. I think it ends great, but I wish it had gone harder. Like as the final song, the name of the album, feel like it could have gone a little harder. I would have appreciated that.
So you would like his other albums then, because
I've added them all to my Apple Music library.
Everybody is the same sort of thing. I won't spoil who's in that one if you care.
We talked about it before, but yeah, if you don't remember, then yeah.
Yeah, there is somebody who
skits, right?
portrays God. Yeah, there's skits in that one, and there's somebody who portrays God that is somewhat famous.
Good and
I have all the Bobby Tarantinos. I've got
those are not going to be
days.
that. The Bobby Tarantinos are essentially
that's him pulling an Eminem thing, like a Slim Shady.
Well, that's like
he's
his
a different person.
Like
but those if the Bobby Tarantino albums are all essentially mixtapes. So they're
mixtapes. Yes, I'm aware of that.
They're just going to be random songs thrown together.
He has a song called Super Mario World.
That song's great. I love that song. That song's beats awesome.
I don't know which song it is, but in Incredible True Story, there's the Mario. There's a Mario jump sound effect.
In Super Mario World, that song right there, if you listen into the opening, or not the opening, there's a sequence in the middle of that song where he talks about how he had just finished beating Uncharted 4.
Awesome.
Why did you not lead with this?
I mentioned this stuff forever. There's a there's a break in between one of his verses on the song Super Mario World where he says, like, in the background, he's like, "Hey, I just beat that Uncharted 4. Yeah." And then he goes into the next verse.
Logic, Super Mario.
He was in,
World.
I mean, this, but he's in Last of Us 2. He's in the game.
Right. I forgot
he
they
plays
cast him
one.
in that game.
He plays one of the rattlers at the end, I think is what they're called, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
He plays the one opposite the bearded dude that ties up Ellie. Not the big bearded dude.
He's the skinny dude?
He's the skinny dude, I'm pretty sure, yeah. The one that she kills when she gets hung upside down.
Well, there you go.
Pretty sure
I just beat that Uncharted 4. Lit. I love it, Logic. You're my kind of guy. This is it.
Yeah, dude, you can go in the archives of there used to a couple of years ago, if you go find his YouTube channel for a while there, he started like streaming and
that's what the
or maybe not
the
streaming.
Wikipedia he was the first like musician or whatever to be signed by Twitch.
Yeah, but I don't know if he that was weird. He doesn't really play game. He didn't really play games on Twitch too much. Or he just kind of did whatever. If you go back into the archives of his YouTube channel, he would do like Let's Plays, and he would just set up his camera and he'd be like, "What's up, guys? Today we're playing Metal Gear Solid 5," and he would just play there and talk about random stuff while he'd play the game. He's like, "Yeah, I've already put like 500 hours in this game," because he would play The Witcher 3, and I know he'd talk about how he beat it like 10 times over or something like that, because all he's ever doing is like on a tour bus. He's just got downtime, so he'd like play these games incessantly. Anyway, yeah, if you explore his other stuff, let me know for sure. Everybody's good. Like I said, that's my favorite album by far. Yeah, just come to me. I'll let you know. Because some of these albums, like, and he even mentioned this stuff on some later albums. No Pressure is good because it kind of got him back to his roots. But like Confessions of a Dangerous Mind was largely panned for being like too radio friendly, essentially. And he was just trying to kind of create songs for the radio. And he kind of himself has somewhat retroactively admitted that. And he was just trying to create like hype stadium.
Is that 1-800?
rap.
Is that one?
No, that's
not
everybody.
That's not everybody.
Yeah. But he's kind of admitted himself that he went through a phase there where he just kind of quote unquote sold out or whatever. Which is funny. I forgot that Bobby Tarantino 2 has his wife on it, who's no longer his wife. That's kind of funny in retrospect. Anyway,
I like Everybody a lot. So
Everybody's good. That would be the next one. If you like that, what are the two guys' names on Incredible True Story? It's Kai and
Quentin Thomas.
Yeah, Quentin Thomas. They're in all the other albums. They're in Quentin Thomas and Thomas and Kai are in all the other albums too. They're in Everybody. They show up again in. I'm pretty sure they're in No Pressure, aren't they? I think they're mentioned there. That song, because the song Talia on No Pressure
is the AI lady voice. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they're mentioned there a couple times. Yeah. So he brings up Thomas and Kai a lot, and yeah, Spike Spiegelman, whatever his name is, he shows up quite a bit as well. So, yeah. Anyway,
yeah. Well, I've updated the ranking because the other problem though is I'm gonna have to get sick of this album first before I move on to anything else. I mean, beat this album into the ground.
Now you can understand how, like I said, sorry, Mike, but now you can understand depressed Logan stuck at dead end job, listening to this album all the time, trying to turn my mindset into a grind set, listening to this album all the time.
Oh my gosh.
I was gonna say on the album ranking that you showed us, you have Steely Dan listed twice at 5 and 7, and I don't remember you listening to 2 Steely Dan albums.
I did not. I'll try and fix it.
Well, Steely Dan's clearly better than the Killers, so.
I mean, yeah.
No.
All right. Well, all right. Hold on.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
Hey, you listen, Asia.
All right. Enough of this damn Bobby Tarantino. I want to hear about the music, man.
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to having issues here.
So we've got nothing else to talk about on your front. So would it just be to talk about Linkin Park now? That actually works out kind of well because we're all going to talk about this. So
yeah.
It's funny because I realized I had this problem where I wasn't listening to anything else, or I'd start something and I just wanted to listen to the true story, and I was like, this will be funny. Like, we'll record soon. And then we kept postponing when we were recording. And I was like, I have all this time. I'm like, but I still only want to listen to this. So
I think this, honestly, like, okay, it's probably disappointing that nobody else gets to talk about their things.
Sorry,
and Mike will
guys.
have to go another couple months without knowing what you think about Rush. But I will say this was kind of the whole point that we did this. And we have finally found something that resonated with you greatly.
When you said Logic, I'm like, oh, he'll like that. Like, for sure.
Well, I've been trying to pinpoint your hip hop and rap stuff
Logan
here the
finally
past couple episodes.
It's finally happened. Like, you found, this is what I do with music. I find something I really enjoy, and that's all I
think that's part of it, but the other part too is to also just like get you into or see what you think about other music, because as far as we're concerned, you don't know anything about it.
Well,
so,
I want you to
it's nice to see. I like to see that, like, you're like, there are certain things like Stevie Ray Vaughan, for example, like you would have never probably listened to that if somebody didn't tell you to do it, like on this podcast for a show.
Absolutely.
And you ended up liking that. So stuff like that is like, it's cool and neat to see that for me.
I want you to, I guess if there's anything else I could suggest that you're clearly going to keep listening to a lot of music on your time off. Spoiler alert, we're not doing this next month. So we'll be back in 2 months.
It'll be 2 hours.
Yeah, it's going to be very long. But I will say, try to expand your taste with the artist that you have found you like within that same artist. Like, you found you like Incredible True Story. Cool. Now listen to a couple of his different albums. And I know you're hooked on the one, but you might find that you like another one better. Or you might find that, like, start playing around. Like, you mentioned that you like the Jamiroquai album I suggested to you as well. And you're like, oh, I've got the other ones on deck. Cool. You should listen to those at some point as well. Like, if you do, because clearly it's the artist that you're liking, not just the single albums. Obviously, you can have different opinions on different albums, but if you like Logic because of the things he does in Incredible True Story, I got news for you. He does a lot of those same things on the other albums. And I know you've listened to No Pressure here still, like you said. So you have done that to one degree, but play around. Listen to the other albums. Develop a full opinion of the artist.
And then let us know. I would love to know.
Maybe. You might be privileged to this information.
All
I
right.
have to say, really quick, I'm so distracted now, Mario. Why is there a Kojima tease in our chat?
I saw that, and I was like, what the fuck?
I'm losing it a little bit. Is this man about to reveal something?
It looks like Florence Pugh. That's all I'm going to say. Continue.
No, it looks like Margaret Qualley.
Again?
She doesn't have blonde hair like that.
Is it blonde hair?
If you look at it in the light,
Damn, sorry, I
absolutely.
didn't mean to derail the podcast.
Sorry, if you throw Kojima in chat, your boy's getting distracted.
Doesn't look like Florence Pugh.
It looks like Florence Pugh to me.
I disagree.
All right, guys.
I'll cut this out of the main podcast. Probably not.
To quote Linkin Park, nobody's listening. There you go.
Hey, do you know that there's a flute in that song?
I may have listened to it before coming upstairs today in the car. So,
all right, where do we want to start with this? We
have
start
to
at the
start
beginning
in chronological order.
All right, Hybrid Theory. Who was assigned to listen to that?
Grant, did you listen to Hybrid Theory?
I listened to it and I was like, wow, this is Guitar Hero music. And that's about
Yeah.
and that was really the big thing. And then it got to Crawling in the end, and I was like, these are meme songs. This is a good album.
Yes. You know what it actually is? It's not Guitar Hero. I don't know if they were in Guitar Hero.
Well, they gave me guitar
are in Beat Saber.
Well, I don't have that headset thing. So
you should. It's gonna have Among Us.
Bro, In the End is timeless. I just pulled that up on Spotify. That song has 1.3 billion listens.
To double
that's
up,
just Spotify.
That's a 20, and that's just Spotify. Yeah, it's a 22-year-old song. That song will never die.
To double up on
Ever.
Grand, because I listened to all the albums too, just in preparation for this, because I wanted to be prepared.
Look at this guy.
And just to double up, that album, it's a fantastic album. Don't get me wrong; those songs are timeless, like Logan is saying. But we can't give a pass to Linkin Park and talk shit about like bands like POD because they fucking sound the same. If you go
POD
through,
is great.
I'm just
We are
POD is not great. Stop.
They are literally the same thing.
619,
They are
Michael.
straight up. Kick,
A
boom.
quick
Okay?
numbers fact. Official In the End music video, which I've never seen in my life.
You've never seen
One
it?
point
You've never
four.
seen it?
Oh man,
Guys,
Yeah,
we've
I'd watch
established I don't watch music
looks-
videos.
God, you gotta
It's
watch
like
this video.
something you would
1.4
see on a screen at a
billion.
bowling alley.
Yeah,
1.4 billion views on the music video, 17 million views on the official lyric
Yeah,
video,
dog.
which was 5 years ago.
I would pay like $3 to the phone company and rent that on like the box on my television all the time. They used to when you used to rent music videos and they would just play it when they're ready. It's so
You
stupid.
could rent a music video.
Oh
Straight
yeah,
up.
I remember that.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
you
the
could
box.
totally do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, you got anything else you want to say about hybrid? Meteor is the one we're going to talk about a lot, I assume.
Okay.
So.
I mean, it's just Linkin Park. It wasn't anything special or spicy to me.
I
I
got
just
news
chuckled
for you.
a lot.
It is special because there's no other music like it nowadays. All right, let's have
right.
Michael descend down the steps of
Break my heart.
I'm
the
not
temples
going.
of the sphere, the searing
Now-
so that he can pass judgment on Linkin
Okay.
Park.
Logan, you said you were to guess what my favorite songs of this album were gonna be.
Yeah, I said it
What?
would either be Breaking the Habit or Somewhere I Belong. Those were my two guesses.
One of those were right.
I think
Habit.
it's.
Breaking the Habit is by far the best song.
I thought
Yes.
that was the one I was gonna.
by far
Breaking the Habit is awesome.
it is by far the best song. Like it is so
Yeah.
different from the rest of the album, and it's really good. And it exemplifies like I wish like more of the songs were like that. I would actually like Linkin Park a lot more if they were more like that.
Breaking the Habit's the best song on the album.
But then that would also take away like an entire part of that, which is Mike Shinoda, which they would just not have. But my top three songs, just to start off, Breaking the Habit was number one. The other two aren't in the same, like necessarily in the same thing, but From the Inside and then
Mhm.
Easier to Run. Those are my favorite songs.
I may be listening to Breaking the Habit right now.
You didn't like Numb? I've become
No,
so
like,
numb.
Numb is great. Like
I can't
you know-
even feel.
So, okay, I'm not going to go through every single note of what I have here. But what it comes down to with like Meteora, I think Meteora is a good album. I just think there's like little things here and there about it that don't make it like great or above it.
Like the flute.
Yeah, like a flute. It's also like listening to it, and then I listened to Hybrid Theory afterwards too, a couple times, and they have a formula
Mhm.
for their songs,
Yes.
and they hardly break that formula on
No.
every single
in
song.
the first
Hardly
two
ever.
albums for sure.
Hardly ever. And Breaking the Habit was the one that they kind of don't because it doesn't sound as crazy, but it does still follow the same formula of we're going to start with the hook. We're going to go into like what the chorus part would be, go into verse, go into chorus, go
And
into
the verses are
go
Mike
into
Shinoda
chorus,
and the choruses are Chester Bennington.
go into bridge, then finish the song with the chorus 2 times. They do it like every time. Every
Yes.
single time they do it. And it's about 3 minutes each song.
And
every
it's
single time.
perfect.
It's not because it's like at the same time, like at least with Meteora and even with Hybrid Theory, all the songs just mesh together at that point. I don't know what the
Mhm.
like they all sound the same, and so and then a lot of the lyrics too, like a lot of it to me sounds like really cheesy, like something you would hear in like
Crawling in my skin.
skin.
like it's more and it more has to do with like the mixture of the rap and the actual singing. So like Chester would be like singing something and then you just hear this dude like rapping about whatever the fuck he's saying. I'm like, this sounds like the like cheesiest corny shit I've ever heard
Okay,
in my
but what if the rapper was
There-
instead Jay-Z?
But
How
there's-
would that make you feel?
I will say there are times where it works. Like it works really well and stuff,
Mhm.
but almost like 90% of the time, and some of the songs that I put as like my top 3 songs that I thought were the best songs of this album totally have that. It's like this cheesy thing. But when it works really well, and I get why they're famous for what they do. The other thing I want to say, and this is just in Linkin Park in general, is that and I've thought this even before, like before I shit on Linkin Park or whatever, but like Chester's like one of the greatest vocalists of
Yeah.
all time in terms of
Yeah.
like for like not just in genre, but like for rock music. By far, like one of the best.
that boy can
If
scream.
you want
Like he is. Like,
He's up there with Chris Cornell, I think.
Yeah, he's like in that same realm. Well, he's like in the same realm of like Chris Cornell, where like I feel like they get overshadowed by other singers in their genre. So like Chris Cornell, I feel like he gets overshadowed by like Eddie Vedder, even like Scott Weiland or like other people like that. Where Chester, I don't really know a lot of whole new metal stuff, but like I'm sure he's kind of saying
Fred Durst.
Fred Durst,
System of a Down.
Yeah, I mean
Surge is amazing.
Surge is great. I mean, I guess you could. I don't know if Rage is considered new metal. They kind of are. They're like the beginning of it, I guess, in a way.
Progenitor.
Yeah. But yeah, like he's just an incredible vocalist. I feel like every time I hear him, like it's like you get goosebumps because you're like, wow, this guy can really fucking sing and scream. His voice kind of reminds me. I don't think anybody here knows who he is, but his voice kind of reminds me of Devin Townsend, kind of.
No,
like a little bit, but not as crazy as him. But kind of reminds me of that. And like Mike Shinoda, like I kind of like. He's not bad. It's just like how they implement the rapping part is just like so corny sometimes. And so I'm like, man, I kind of this feels like a CW show. Well, right? So but like
these albums are
but
20-ish years old. I mean,
yeah, but you know what?
Literally,
there are plenty of albums that are 20 years old, 30 years old. Like Led Zeppelin albums came out 40 years ago. You know.
But they also don't have rapping incorporated into them.
Do you know what year where you're in?
Okay, great. Whatever.
Led Zeppelin albums came out like 50 to 60 years ago now.
What I'm saying is just like it. But like the corniness is absolutely there in the year 2022.
Rage Against the Machine, their first album came out in 1990, and I think that music still hits today.
I can tell you firsthand it still hits.
Yeah.
Because I just saw them live and everybody lose their minds.
Yeah, like there are plenty of rap rock groups that still hit. Like even 20, 30, whatever years later.
I mean,
this is just the sound of Linkin Park. Like,
I think
for me,
Linkin Park
it just doesn't vibe with me.
Linkin Park to me is the beginning of the 2000s internet, right? Because that was the song you hear on all of the like compilations. See, there's 1,000 Halo videos that start with Linkin Park. You know, it just they've always had that sort of energy to them.
Yeah, it's just like not. It's just that like weird like thing that there's a part of it that I'm just not into. And I'm not saying like being formulaic is like bad. Like Coheed has like the most formulaic sound in terms of like how they structure an album. If you listen to every Coheed album, they have a structure to how they do their albums, every single one. Like I'm not gonna go through that, but they do that. Thin Lizzy's another one that I feel like is pretty formulaic too.
The boys are always back in town.
It has nothing to do with like it being formulaic and bad. Is that there's just not enough. There's not enough like deviation from what they're normally doing. You know, it always sounds the same.
You also listened to the first two albums. They definitely, I think, evolve over any other albums. So you were listening to two that were very close together and
arguably though not in the best way in my opinion. That's just my thoughts. But we'll get into it when we talk about those.
Yeah,
but the thing that Mario
too about that is that like their later albums aren't the best or whatever, but whatever. That's always
just the sound. It's very different in my opinion.
So what Mario said though about them like being, at the beginning kind of the internet to a certain degree, like Linkin Park is the first band that I discovered by myself, which. Wow, what a shocker. I've found one of the most popular bands.
I did too. I mentioned it before that I have a distinct memory of playing Tekken in some kid's bedroom and he's like, hey, listen to this album. And it was Hybrid Theory. And my parents didn't introduce it to me at all. Just some kid was like, you should listen to Linkin Park while we play Tekken 2.
My dad introduced me to Linkin Park.
So. Your dad's
and
cool.
So
cool shit,
I'm the only one in my family that enjoys listening to Linkin Park, and so I've just been there since Minutes to Midnight. Actually, I dug this out of storage. I found my Minutes to Midnight CD, which none of you listen to. I got this in the curb. It was on the street. It has someone's phone number on the front. I've never called them.
You need to call it right now.
Text that number to me right now. I will call it.
I want to call them and I say, Hello,
Well,
I found your Minutes to Midnight album on the street.
We actually can't figure out the last 2 digits.
Oh,
Abby and I looked at it the other day. We don't know if they're what.
Well, there's
they
only
are.
99 options.
Yeah. So we but I did find it and it's scratched up. But this was the first. So Linkin Park was my first explicit album. Sneaking this in the CD player, listening to that, I was like, "Ooh, look at me getting away with stuff." Linkin Park was the first on that train. Also, when I had my own debit card and like iTunes account, first album I bought with explicit music, I was like, "Look at me, I'm so cool." I remember when they dropped. What is that song called? It's Burning Something. I don't have it. The Catalyst. I think it was The Catalyst. Oh, Burn It Down. When Burn It Down came out, I was in college, and I remember listening to that to and from class that day. Like, that was the only thing I was listening to. And Living Things came out when I was up in Indiana. Living Things came out around Born and Raised, Logan. Like, those 2 albums are intricately tied to that time in my life. And so I've listened to a lot of Linkin Park. A lot.
I will say, like, if the future sound was more of like breaking the habit, I would have dug Linkin Park for sure. But
would you like me to chime in on the future sound?
It's just not there for me. Like I'm happy I finally got I finally listened to it. I know Amber likes Linkin Park a lot, but we've just never I've never listened to it. So it was good to listen to it, I guess.
I guess before Logan, you jump into the future sound, we have to talk about the sound that is mixed with someone also at the height of their powers, which of course is the one and only Jay-Z. When you got the mega powers, as you will, Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage meeting up and teaming up and making one of the best tag teams of all time, then 100% you get Collision Course, which of course you assigned to me. And yeah, this was like a huge section of like intersectional, like white kids who love rap music, white kids who like rock music. Yo, what's up? Let's party. And it was a blast to have these mixture of songs. I mean, you can't go wrong with like Numb and Encore just mixed together. That beat with those lyrics.
I mean, you probably can go wrong with that, but somehow it feels natural.
It feels
that's what's kind of baffling about it.
That's what's incredible about this whole EP is the fact that you can combine both these different flavors of music and somehow it just coalesces perfectly.
Oh my gosh, I'm listening to it right now.
I remember the first time I heard this, I didn't think it was like real. I was like, is this somebody
it was like one of your Persona Kanye mixes?
Yeah, I was like, did somebody make this? Like, is this just a joke? And then I saw like they did live performances of this stuff.
They straight up did.
Like, wow.
And it was
holy smokes.
Yeah,
this is a real thing.
They toured, I think, actually.
Maybe a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they may have done.
And not a lot of like musicians or things were like doing this in this like crossover way. It's not until that I remember like Green Day's American Idiots album when they were doing like, I think it was not called crossovers. What the fuck was it called? But it was basically they were just combining 2 songs and mixing it together. There was like a whole movement at that moment. But yeah, this was like the very first one that I recognized. And I'm like, this is incredible.
I mean, this was 2004 as well. So Jay-Z was really, really big. Like you said, he had just released the Black album. Blueprint had been out and Blueprint 2. Like, he was huge.
Absolutely.
Yes, this was prime early 2000s.
Does it surprise anyone that this is the only Jay-Z music I know?
No. Have you listened to the original songs to this actual album?
Oh, I have no idea what those songs are.
You gotta
I just know Jay-Z in these important.
You gotta know Big Pimpin'.
Performance.
Oh man.
This man doesn't know On the Road Again. He probably doesn't know Big Pimpin'.
You know the Paris song with Kanye. You gotta know that.
Yeah. What's the name of that song again?
Very good. Totally know what you're talking about.
Donkey made his own version of that song.
Donkey in Paris, yes.
Yes, Donkey in Paris. See, you know that song. Yeah. I do currently like that if you go to Jay-Z's Spotify
I've definitely
page,
never heard the beginning of Big Pimping, so if that helps you.
I mean, that's one of his crossover tracks. You probably know more Jay-Z than you think, because if you were alive, I mean, when we were in high school, what was the album that came out that had Run This Town and Empire State of Mind and stuff like that? That was Blueprint 3.
Oh, okay. I would say American Gangster.
No, you had to have heard some stuff on Blueprint 3, Max, because that album, there was so many hits on that. Like, you could not turn on the radio or just be...
That would require me to turn on the radio.
You would just have to exist within culture to hear some of these songs. But then again, we've also established that you don't know who Willie Nelson is. So that's also a thing. I do like on Jay-Z's Spotify page though, like I was saying, if you go and look at his songs ranked like the most popular songs, Numb Encore is still in the top 5.
Straight up.
So this is one of the most popular Jay-Z songs ever made, even though it's a mashup, basically.
Pretty much. That's so good, man.
What
It's
about
funny
the
that like 3 of the albums we chose are basically the beginning of the band or the rise to their height of power pre Transformers era.
As far as I'm concerned, and this is like outside looking in, like I feel like the first 2 albums was the rise, and then it fell from there. Yeah,
Minutes to Midnight's good. I can speak
Mhm.
from my perspective and say never listened to 1,000 Suns because I heard it was crap, and
Negative.
or I guess
I like
Waiting
1,000
for the End
Suns.
is one song I do know off that album. But even that, yeah, I don't know. Didn't care. Like they shifted. So for me, I had never listened to 1,000 Suns, which I still haven't, I guess, all the way through.
It's their weirdest album for sure.
Living
They
Things I never listened
experiment.
to. I've never listened to Living Things.
Oh my gosh. That album is
And The Hunting
Hunting
Party.
Party?
Never listened to that. And then, but this time I did listen to One More Light, which is their last album. And this album is pretty stinky butt. It's not. Here's the thing. Here's where I'm at. So Mike is talking about how Linkin Park is formulaic. It's rap rock. It's verse, chorus, bridge, verse, or whatever, or chorus, whatever. They are very formulaic. However, I like that. And so One More Light it's actually a lot of the things that Mike was complaining about with the other albums. It is more Chester, pretty much no Mike Shinoda for the most part. They fold in some features from other people to sing or rap on some of these songs. There's second song has Pusha T on it. So they fold in some interesting people on this album. However, this is why I kind of stopped liking Linkin Park, is because at least when they began, they were that new metal. They were heavy, like they were that new metal rap rock stuff, and they had a heaviness to them and an edge. And yes, looking back on it now, it's songs like Crawling feel like low-key cringe in some sort of way, but like that's of the era and it's of the time, and it's still real to me, damn it. Like that's how I feel about that stuff when I still listen to it.
I love
now.
we got 2
Like,
wrestling references in this podcast.
I don't look at that stuff as cringe. Like I'm like, heck yeah, dude, early 2000s rap rock, let's go. And it is very much that. When I listen to like what they became, obviously they can't stay that way forever because new metal's not a thing. So I'm not expecting them to drop
there's a comeback, dude.
Maybe
cool
it is
now.
coming back.
It's cool now.
I mean, probably, yeah.
It is.
I could see it. Everything comes back around, but that did not happen in Linkin Park's time as a band, obviously, because Chester's now gone.
Yeah.
But when this final album came out, it was very much. My problem with it is just the music, is because it sounds so just bland. It sounds like every other type of pop music. Like just music you'd hear when you turn on the radio nowadays. Like there's nothing remarkable about this album musically, whereas the older albums, like it would have stuff where heavy driving guitars and freaking flutes would come in out of nowhere. There is none of that musical flair is on this album whatsoever, outside of maybe a track or two. I will say lyrically, the album is quite a lot better than a lot of their other stuff. You could tell that Chester was really pouring himself into these lyrics. However, it's a really dark album, and it's also almost kind of hard to listen to because the through line theme of the album is basically I want to die. And then you know what happened after they released it. So it's kind of hard to listen to in that sense. Similar to Mac Miller's last album, Circles is hard to listen to because he just keeps talking about how he wants to die on that whole album. So it's not really a thrilling listen by any means. So lyrically, the album has some depth to it, and I think Chester's performance, Chester is really at the center of the album, and Mike Shinoda is not there whatsoever, and I think that's a good thing to the album's benefit. But just musically, it is so boring. Like it just has, it doesn't seem like, it feels like a Chester Bennington solo project for the most part. Like it does not feel like it deserves the Linkin Park. Like when I think of Linkin Park, I think of a very specific thing. And if I made you listen to this album and you obviously didn't know that Chester Bennington was singing on the album, you wouldn't have any inclination that it's a Linkin Park record. Like it's just so different in that sense musically.
Mm-hmm.
So
One More Light is the one I can't really go to the mat for. I've listened to it maybe twice. I honestly couldn't tell you one thing about the album. It's the one I've listened to the least. I didn't know it had come out until after Chester had died, and then I was a sad boy and didn't really want to listen to it. And so I've only listened to it a handful of
the
times.
title track is really good. I mean, that's the kind of the hit off of the album. One More Light is really good. I liked Nobody Can Save Me, which is the opening track.
I know Heavy is the first and only song from Linkin Park to have a female.
Yeah, Heavy's pretty good. And there was one more I was thinking of. Maybe it was Talking to Myself that I also liked, the third track on the record. Yeah, and again, Mike Shinoda comes in at certain times on the album, but it's not. It's not. It's formulaic by any means. Is kind of like you were talking about, Mike. This album feels like an entire a bunch of Shadow of the Day style songs, which is a really good song from Minutes to Midnight. But what made that song stand out on Minutes to Midnight is that it was so different at the time from everything else on that album. This album feels like a homogenized versions of that 10 tracks in a row for the most part. And so when it's all that type of style back to back to back to back to back, it just gets very bland.
Yep.
I do, because we did the beginning and the end, and we really we won't and haven't really gone to the middle at all. But the Hunting Party, I think, is really actually super great. It has a Tom Morello is on one of the songs. He's in Guitar Hero 3.
Oh,
so
he's in Guitar Hero 3.
So I think like Hunting Party is really good. It's more.
Is that Bleed It Out?
Yeah, no. I think a Hunting Party is pretty awesome actually. So, and there's some really. Like War, I remember being pretty good.
Is Bleed It Out
Final
on this
Masquerade.
album? What album's that one on?
Which one?
Bleed It Out.
That's Bleed It Out. That's Minutes to Midnight.
It still is? Oh my god. Okay, my bad.
Yeah. I also, and this could be it came out at a critical point in my life, but Living Things feels like a lot of Chester screaming kind of metal rock kind of energy. It's good stuff, man. And then Castle of Glass, which was their radio hit. I love Castle of Glass.
I'll say this about Linkin Park is that Linkin Park is at his best when Chester is screaming his balls off, and like
there
like
was
they are, and like during the breakdown parts too of like a lot of the songs that I was listening to in Meteora, like when they go into the breakdown or any of the bridge stuff, like that stuff is like incredibly great. And then
Chester lets it rip.
And then you just go into, whatever the chorus is, and it's good, and it's like, and it's really good, like it's awesome, like it's, and I could imagine like being at a show and going in the pit for it and like going nuts, like I could imagine doing that.
I'm sad that I'll never have that feeling because I've never seen them live. That's actually, now that you said that, maybe even sadder that I will never ever have to experience that.
Yeah,
I remember in 10th grade, a kid gave a speech about Linkin Park as like his favorite band or whatever, and he talked about how Chester like screams for 45 seconds and Given Up, and I had already listened to it by that point, but I always remember that like Given Up is quintessential Chester to me. And if you really just want Chester, Dead by Sunrise is also a really good band. They only had one album, I think, Out of the Ashes, which is really good stuff.
I wonder who his like influences are, like who he.
Nah, that's
who he looked
sure
up to.
Pull it up. Here, I'll pull it up.
I'm sure that's a Googleable thing, but yeah, I love Linkin Park, and kind of after Chester died, hadn't really listened to them. I actually listened to their whole discography for the first time in a very long time, maybe a couple months ago. It's like, this takes me back. And that's just, it's this warm blanket of, like, this was the music I listened to all the time and was with me all the way through.
I'll say
and college.
I'll say this. One of the reasons why I have liked them and why I continue to like them is simply because I think they are a great workout band. I think if you put on some of their good bangers while you're working out, good lifting music. I don't know if I would just throw on Hybrid Theory for fun if I was sitting at home or something like that. But when I'm working out, I think it's good.
I think I wrote like basically exactly this, where I was like, this is like really good like background music. Like if this was just like on, I'd be down. It was like all day. But like actively listening to it,
yes,
I just cannot do it.
No, it was great.
I'm not gonna be driving in my car.
It was great Burnout 3 music when you'd play like on 360 and you listen to the burnt CDs. Like that's what the kind of music was. The Tony Hawks as well if you were doing your own.
I mean, I'm Not Okay is also on Burnout 3.
That is also true. It is also on that. Yeah, that is true.
All right. With that, let's get into the next assignments then. I don't think we have anything else. So we'll just again, we're gonna take a 2-month break here. We'll be back in November, I think, presumably.
With this, yeah, is the plan.
So
I did just paste some lyrics from a song that I think Logan and Grant would like. That's When They Come For Me, which is on 1,000 Suns.
Fantastic. That was a click look.
That's Mike. It's awesome. I love that song.
Okay. Who wants to give Max actually, we haven't heard from Grant this whole episode because he has not been.
No musical talk so far this week, and I apologize again. But we will talk about the Music Man and whatever else you give me.
Well, do you want 2 from the same thing, or do you want 1 or 2 different things?
Preferably the same artist, if possible, or
right.
thing, whatever that may be.
We're switching up and going to video game soundtracks, and you will be
Bless the
listening
maker.
to Guilty Gear Strive and Guilty Gear XD Rev 2.
Xrd, you mean?
Xrd,
Okay,
yes.
say those again. Hold
Guilty
on.
Gear Strive.
Lord.
Yes.
And
Guilty Gear Xrd, which is XRD 2.
Right next to Tam
Is
Impala.
Strive the one with the anchor whale dolphin girl?
Yes.
All right, good game right there. All right, let's go. I want a match with her. I've quit. I'm undefeated in Guilty Gear Strive, so
there you go.
Quitting while I'm ahead. All right, let me see. Ooh, I'm excited. Aren't those like metal?
I'm making an audible on my choice at the last minute here.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh no!
We are not prepared for this.
Guilty Gear Strive. I found it.
I sort of want to make sure you also get the first season pass songs in there because my favorite song came with the first season pass. So, do you do Spotify?
I just see Apple Music. What
He's an
is
Apple
it?
man.
Well, there's
Necessary
Guilty Gear.
Discrepancy.
Yes, you want to do that.
Both of them. There are 2 record track albums.
I see the second one. Let me look for the first one really quick.
Which one has the song you want?
Unprepared.
The second one does.
Okay. Bring this up. Alrighty.
How long is this episode, by the way?
We are 55. I've been putting notes and how long in the pre-med.
Okay.
But yeah, this game soundtrack has been slowly sneaking up into like top 10 territory for me, and potentially could be top 5 if I keep listening to it and jiving with it.
Yes.
Is Guilty Gear Strive or no? I'm thinking of Under Night in Birth.
Yeah, that's
what I'm thinking of.
That's the big song.
A dang one.
That's a good one.
Soundtrack.
Okay. Added.
I will do a video game soundtrack next time, and that one I don't know if you'll like it, but it'll be very good.
I'm excited now. Video game music. We've entered my realm.
Somebody else go. I want to go last.
Logan
Mario,
wants to go last, Mr. Audible over.
God damn.
Mario, you go.
All right, here we go. It was semi-teased in the transition here. We're going with my favorite band of all time.
Oh boy. I don't know who it is.
I'm going to welcome you to the Black Parade. You are listening.
Parade.
You're
That's
listening.
not My Chemical Romance.
You're listening to My Chemical Romance. You're listening
Oh,
to
is that the name of the
that
album,
is the
Black
name-
Parade?
The Black Parade is the name of the album.
Black Parade.
Welcome Black Parade
Oh.
is the title of the song.
Oh, okay. All right. I assumed when you didn't say My Chemical Romance at first, I was like, oh, I'm surprised that's not
It's
his
a little
favorite
trickery.
band.
It's a little trickery, dude. This actually, the Black Parade is kind of like their Slim Shady. So to put in reverence for you, so you can understand.
Was there an album, Mario? You would know this.
Yes.
Was there an album that came out from them around 2013 or maybe 2012?
That was probably Danger Days.
Danger Days would probably be that album.
2012. I think. Don't quote me on this.
Okay.
I think Our Class Song was a My Chemical Romance.
Most
song.
likely, because Sing was like a popular song at that time.
Guess what our class song was?
Oh no.
I don't remember.
Green
Vitamin
Day.
C, Graduation Day.
No, it was the Friends theme song.
Oh God.
Was
You
it?
guys
That
are the
sucks.
worst.
That was my reaction as well.
You guys are the worst.
Yo, actually, my
I-
eighth grade. Hold on. My 8th grade graduation song was "The Reason" by Hoobastank.
That's amazing.
I tried. I
Incredible.
campaigned. I campaigned for "Call Me Maybe" to be our class song.
I campaigned for us to all walk out to the Imperial March from Star Wars.
That's
I
incredible.
actively actually had like a campaign going for it, and some students came up to me and said that if "Call Me Maybe" won, that they would beat me up.
All right. Well,
But if you ask people, they don't remember whatever song we did have. They do remember "Call Me Maybe" was almost it, so I considered it a win.
there you go. You know who's still around? Carly Rae Jepsen. So
She is. She's the true queen.
true queen in this.
Step aside Taylor. Taylor's actually been off the throne for a while now. Carly's been at the top.
That's questionable, but you know who's been gone and now coming back, and I'm actually seeing him this weekend thanks to my good old friend there, Mike Ruiz.
My Chemical Romance?
My Chemical Romance is back from the dead, thank God. They've been touring over the last year. They actually were supposed to come back 2 years ago, and then
This is like with Rage when I saw them.
yeah, exactly. Where 2 years where I have had to wait for this, and finally, yes, they are here. They have a new song. They released it earlier this year. I'm not going to ask you to listen to that song because I don't think it's a good representation of what their music is. That's why I'm suggesting the middle album, the most popular album for you, because I think this will be the one that'd be most indicative to who people think of when they think of My Chemical Romance. So the Black Parade is your assignment. Your bonus assignment is to actually listen to the three popular songs. You don't have to listen to the whole album, but the 3 popular songs from Sweet Cheers of Three Revenge. The song is Helena, if you haven't heard it already. I'm Not Okay, and The Ghost of You.
Dude, I'm Not Okay is one of the greatest songs.
It's one of the greatest songs of all time. Bonus, watch the music videos for all 3 of those.
Oh, this music
Helena's
video
very
stuff.
good music
I just
video.
had I was searching for a GIF the other day, and the only thing popping up was I wanted something for the phrase like famous last words. I was looking along the lines of like a
good song.
pirate walking the plank or someone
Great
dying,
song.
and all I got was
My
My Chemical
Chemical
Romance
Romance.
stuff. And I was
Also-
like,
Isn't that the one with him having blonde hair and
Yep.
in front of a fire? And
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
and I
Directed
was
by the guy
upset.
who directed
I was like,
the Teenage Spirit music video.
yeah, well,
Same
I
dude.
was upset because that was not the vibe I was going for at all, and I couldn't find a GIF I wanted, so I was upset.
Dead is on Guitar Hero 3, I'm pretty sure.
That is on Guitar Hero 3.
2.
Oh,
Xbox
2.
360
Oh, shit,
version.
you're
Okay,
right.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, you're
I was
right.
gonna say, I feel
Because
like
then
I
you could
would've
get the DLC, and then the DLC had famous last words.
Yes, it
and
did.
something else, and I can't
Teenagers.
remember what the other one.
I think it was
Teenagers. Yeah, it was teenagers.
Yeah.
All
with
right.
DLC.
There you go. Put some black makeup on. Let's get this shit on the road next.
Hell
next
yeah,
2
get some
months.
get some black nail polish
Let's
on.
go.
I just want to throw this out there. Let's not do extra credit this coming time because we're gonna have too much as it is. It's genuinely gonna
Well,
be like
I feel like having you guys listen to something is fine.
okay, that's fine. We can do it. Whatever. We'll just do it full. We'll have to start splitting these up maybe. The 2 podcasts.
I guess I will go.
Got a lot to listen to.
I guess
Partially
my
own fault.
question is, do you want to be sad or not sad?
Make him
I'm
sad.
having a kid. I would prefer
Do you want to be?
not
Do you want to be
sad.
depressed as you have a child?
Sad dad.
All right. The first album, I'm kind of pulling also an Audible a little bit here. I got two albums. I got two albums here.
I feel like if we cut back all the assignments to one album, we could keep extra credit for having the split. Just saying.
One is a
What if it was one album?
one is a part 2 to a previously we've
Part
already
2.
gone through it. The other one is brand new. The first one is David Bowie's "The Rise of Ziggy Stardust."
Ooh.
So I'll have you.
That was
Listen
He
to
has
that.
a movie coming out.
Interesting. I
David
feel like
Bowie, there's like a movie coming
You're
out.
right. You're
for
not
him.
wrong. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
quick reason. You've said you
What's
like
the
concept
album?
album stuff. "The Rise of Ziggy Stardust."
Right. Oh gosh.
This has it's got all the hits on them.
All the
the
hits.
hits are on.
I
that
know
one.
one David Bowie, two David Bowie songs.
Heroes.
You know
Heroes.
more. You
You
know
know
more
Heroes.
David Bowie songs. You know
No,
Changes.
the shoes, red
You know-
shoes, or Let's Dance.
You know The Man Who Sold the World. You know that one because
Yeah,
that was in
Metal
a
Gear.
Kojima video game.
It was.
So,
Okay. Which one?
And Major Tom.
Metal Gear Solid 5.
That doesn't necessarily mean I didn't beat that
You
one.
probably
so-
know Space Oddity. You probably know Changes.
whichever one was in Guardians of the Galaxy but cut from the movie.
Oh, I don't know.
Moon Age Daydream, which is the
Oh,
name of the
it's a
movie.
great-
Have you ever
Great
have you
song.
ever seen Walk Hard?
The
Nope.
Dewey Cox story.
Yeah. They did a whole cover of Starman in that one. Like that was the only not joke song in there.
David Bowie. A very
There's
strange
isn't
looking
that song
person.
in isn't that song on
Queen Bitch is in Rock Band, I'm pretty sure.
isn't Starman on what was that movie? The Mars Man, Matt Damon, The Martian.
Yes, it was.
And
It
then
was in
if
The
you watched
Martian.
American Horror Story, they did Life on Mars one time. That's a pretty famous song. Anyway, listen to that one. I think that one is it is a concept album. You might dig it. I don't know.
That's what I'm leaning
I-
into here this time.
I saw
too.
that Mario earlier. I was gonna message that to you before. But-
My bad.
so yeah, that's that one. The second one is part 2 of Coheed. I'm gonna do Vaxis 2.
Oh my
The
gosh.
Window of the Waking Mind, because I just want to talk about this album, to be honest. But
This is the one that you said is like music.
this
or
is like,
it's
to me,
theatric.
yeah, I feel like this is the most theatrical and most like one of
This
the
is
more.
the new one, right?
Yeah, this is the new one, brand new one. It's definitely
What
like
was it called?
it's Vaxis 2.
It
the
has
Window
people on
Window
the
of a
cover.
Waking Mind.
It should be
has
the
11
very
on the cover.
yeah. Well, that's 2 Roman numeral.
No, 11 on the cover. The kid in the middle looks like 11 from
Oh,
Stranger
11.
Things.
Oh, well, that's fair. Very good album, I think. But
All right, Logan. What you got?
All right, Max.
Yeah, Mr.
I was
Audible.
not going to do this, but coming off of Logic,
Oh,
coming
boy.
off of you telling me what you liked from Logic, which was the concept album style, which is a through line story throughout the entire album. It's time to do Kendrick.
Oh no!
It's time to do Kendrick Lamar.
Wait,
If
what?
that is what you liked about Logic, that's literally every Kendrick album.
Which one are you doing? Oh no!
oh, you gotta do the good one. You gotta do the
So this is the struggle, and I would actually
Oh, he
like
just had a new album. That's right.
Damn would be
So we're not doing Damn. We're not doing Damn.
Oh no!
I don't want to do Damn.
That's the
Damn is
one-
good. That's the radio friendly one.
There's only
That's the one with
two that-
DNA in it.
You do
It's a good album.
It's a
You
great
do,
album.
I got
You should-
loyalty.
do To Pimp a Butterfly then.
Hold on, keep going.
Hold
Max.
on.
Just
That's
keep
what
going.
Logan's gonna
We're not
pick.
doing We're not doing Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Here's the
Oh, no,
problem.
No, he's doing To Pimp a Butterfly.
I'm gonna give you
He's
two.
one.
I'm gonna give you two, but I'm torn on the two. I think I should just give you the first two. I think I should give you Good Kid and To Pimp a Butterfly. Good Kid, I think, is one of the best hip hop albums of all time. To Pimp a Butterfly is my personal favorite. I think it's also one of the best hip hop albums of all time. But I think like Good Kid is more like traditional hip hop and rap, I guess. To Pimp a Butterfly, you might not like because of the musical stylings on it. And that's
I thought
what
it
my
was
concern would
jazz.
be. It is, but it's it's hard to listen to that album for a first time and have it resonate with you. So
It's
I
not
think
Ryan
you'll listen
Gosling
to
jazz.
Yeah, I think you'll listen to it for the first time and you will not, I don't want to say you won't get it, but I even for me, it took me a lot of listens to that album to really appreciate it. The other one though, I am considering, so I said no to Damn. However, I think Max would like the Black Panther soundtrack.
Oh, 100%.
Which is
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
which is I think the most consumable
I agree.
thing for Max to listen to of Kendrick's entire
I
discography.
think I
And that might
listened
sound odd, but that soundtrack is completely independent of the film. I mean, it has themes from the film and stuff
Yeah.
like that, but the songs,
He says, "I am T'Challa." in one
he
of the
does say that.
songs.
But that album is pretty independent from the film in a lot of ways. And I think that would be the most consumable one for you to potentially listen to, especially since you have the touchstone of the movie and there are some callbacks to it. So in between Good Kid, Black Panther, and To Pimp a Butterfly, you got to listen to Pimp a Butterfly.
Yeah.
That's just,
Yeah.
I mean, that's my favorite. It's maybe my favorite album of all time. It's up there. It's like top
I think I've
3
tried
top
to
5.
listen to this before. I'll report back if I recognize anything.
So let's do that. And
There's
again,
more?
Black Panther is the
I just
one I
added
think.
3 Kendrick
No.
albums.
I'm choosing between Good Kid or Black Panther for the second one. I'm not going to give you 3. I'm going to give you
Good
2.
Kid.
okay.
To Pimp a Butterfly.
Can I have an audible? I think Black Panther would do really well in the thumbnail if you do that one.
That makes sense, actually. That'd be pretty good.
Because it'll be in November.
I don't know. Do you have which one would you like to hear, Max?
I don't care. Black Panther is
Here's
like a
the-
bunch of people.
Actually, I'm going to do this, and I'll explain my reason. Do Good Kid. And I want you to do Good Kid because it has fewer features on it. I want you to hear Kendrick for Kendrick. Black Panther album has a ton of features on it. Like,
They're all
obscene
features.
amount.
I
They're
think
all features.
I
pretty
think they're
much.
all features.
It's not really a Kendrick album in that sense. Like not what you would think of. Like it's not the essence of Kendrick.
One of the songs is basically just a Weekend song.
Yes, exactly. So let's do Good Kid for that reason. Now that I think about it, to do Good Kid, Mad City, and To Pimp a Butterfly. These are 2 of the greatest rap albums of all time. They're 2 of my favorite albums of all time.
So they say.
They are both concept albums that tell through-line stories throughout the entirety. If you listen, depending on the version of Good Kid you listen to, also the final track is supposed to be Compton. Everything else is bonus tracks, but the bonus tracks are also good, but they don't flow with the flow of the album. Start with Good Kid. Start with Good Kid, and then go in order. Start with Good Kid, then go to Pimp a Butterfly.
I like that we all gave him a concept album, because both of mine are concept albums.
All of Kendrick's albums are concept albums. Damn is as well. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is as well. Even Black Panther is.
I'm gonna say that I'm gonna predict it right here. Max is not gonna like Kendrick.
No, I don't think so as well. I don't think he will like Kendrick because Kendrick is extremely vulgar. So maybe don't listen to this with young daughter around. And I don't think he's gonna like Kendrick's cadence.
Yeah,
that's my expectation. Because if you didn't like Tyler, I don't think you're gonna like Kendrick's rapping cadence. However, he does mix up his cadence quite a bit across both these albums. So I don't know, maybe. He doesn't have a sort of a one style. Like I feel like Eminem is pretty rhythmic with his stuff a lot of times. Kendrick's kind of all over the place at times. I don't know. Maybe that's wrong about Eminem. I haven't listened to Eminem in a long time. But anyway, we'll see. I figured I was going to do something completely else, a completely different genre. But when you're like, this is what I like about Logic, my brain was immediately like, well, who else do I know that raps like that? It's Kendrick. So time to try it.
Kendrick's so much different than Logic, though.
It is. It's completely different. You're not going to hear Kendrick say, and I just beat Uncharted 4 in the middle of an album.
One of these days, I'm going to
stuff.
do you Blonde.
At least on Good Kid.
One day.
You'll do what?
Blonde.
By Frank Ocean.
Yeah.
Fantastic album.
One of these days.
I go to sleep to it all the time.
Channel Orange is better, though.
Oh, I like both. They're so good.
Yeah, they're both really good.
Make another one, damn it. It's been 5 years.
All right.
All right.
Extra credit,
All
and
right.
then we're gonna go because it's very late. And I think-
Extra credit.
Easy. I'm gonna do. I
Give
say
us-
easy.
Give
Two
us
options.
give us two. Give us two.
You can give us 2 if you want. We're 2
Yeah.
months out.
Yeah,
The next
but nah,
episode
I
will
d-
legitimately be 2 hours long, but that's okay.
We'll just do
I'm gonna.
Model Citizen Show special. You just do this. It's taking over.
No, I'm gonna do just one.
Boo.
I'm gonna do the All American Rejects.
Oh my God.
gosh.
Kids in the Street.
All right. My sister used to listen to this a lot.
Okay.
And if you want like a cherry on top of your extra credit, their last thing they ever
The
did.
All American Rejects, the official band with the official song of the WWE Diva Search.
If you
You said kids
Yeah.
in the
Three!
street. Kids in the
Three!
street?
Do you actually know what I'm talking about, Mario?
I do.
Kids in the Street, yeah. And then they have like a short, I guess you'd call it EP. 2019 is the last thing they ever did. So sad. Send Her to Heaven only has 3 songs. I also like those 3 as well. Same vein as Kids in the Street. But Kids in the
Oh
Street,
my
please.
Gosh.
What's the
Kids-
other one thing called?
Send Her to Heaven. It's 3 songs. Send Her to Heaven, Gen Y, and then Demons. I like those songs.
Where is this on Apple
I can
Music?
put it in our chat later for you. I can help out.
I don't even see it.
Man, this
Oh,
was
I see- I
this was
found it.
truly the soundtrack to a different era. Oh my goodness.
Can't wait to listen to Gives You Hell.
I didn't give you that album,
I know, I'm just kidding.
but that is
When
that's a good song.
darkness turns the light, it ends the night.
What a good Kids in the Street came out when I was working at Kmart. I think I listened to that album all the time. This was a album that got me through a very bad breakup. So it's good stuff. Has to be a good album. But that's all that I've got for homework this time. So I'm gonna check that box, and my list gets shorter. So
What's
All right,
your
folks.
wait? We didn't get
Go for
your
it.
ranking list.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, Logic's
Logic
at the
went to the top.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's right. Though.
Did you actually listen to Mac Miller at all?
I listened to a third of it, yeah, and then
Okay.
then paused it and said I'd rather. That was a
So
true
you
story.
started with a lot. So you literally started with Logic, and then you just couldn't go to
escape
the
it.
other things. Gotcha. Okay. Interesting. All right.
That's the way the
Well,
cookie crumbles.
we'll be back in presumably November, and we will talk about all of this, and it's going to be very long. So prepare yourself. This is the podcast that continues to evolve and grow larger every time we do it, unfortunately.
Can we do this next one in the morning? So
I
it's
love
not like
it.
we're staying up to the butt crack of
But it's
night.
fun. Yeah, we'll have to because he'll have a child with him, apparently. So, all right, we'll be back next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.